Every forest remembers its heroes. The lion for his roar. The elephant for his strength. The eagle for her eyes. But there was another. One they mocked. One they doubted. One they called nothing. Yet without him, the forest would be no more. This is the story of how the monkey saved the forest. Long ago, beyond the deserts where the sun burns red, beyond the rivers that coil like silver serpents, there stood a forest. A forest so vast that even the eagle's eye could not see its end. Its trees touched the heavens. Its roots drank from the bones of the earth. Its leaves whispered secrets in the wind. The people of the villages called it Ankoba, the eternal forest. It was said, whoever destroyed Ankoba would destroy himself. For a man cannot kill the soil and still expect to eat. A man cannot strangle the river and still expect to drink. And he who mocks the spirits of the forest will one day beg those very spirits for mercy. But within this paradise, not all was well, for the forest had enemies. Some came with axes, some came with fire, some came with hunger that had no end. And deep within, the animals grew restless. The elephant boasted of his strength. The lion roared of his kinship. The eagle spoke of her sight. But none of them saw the danger creeping, until it was almost too late. And then there was Monkey. Oh, Monkey, the trickster, the jester of the trees. He was small where the elephant was mighty. He was mocked where the lion was feared. He was laughed at where the eagle was praised. But Monkey had something none of them carried. Monkey had wisdom. Not the wisdom of books, not the wisdom of kings, but the wisdom of eyes that never stopped watching, ears that never stopped listening, and a heart that never stopped questioning. One morning, when the sun cracked open the sky with its fire, Monkey sat high on a branch, chewing on a fruit, his tail swinging lazily in the wind. That was when he heard it. A sound that did not belong to the forest. Chop, chop, chop. Monkey froze. His ears twitched. His heart thumped. It was the sound of iron biting wood. The sound of greed gnawing at Ankoba's flesh. Monkey leapt from branch to branch, eyes wide, searching. And there, at the forest edge, he saw them. Men. Their faces stern, their hands heavy, their axes shining like cruel moons. They swung, again and again, until a great tree, an elder tree, a tree older than any man's memory, shook, shivered, and fell with a thunder that shook the ground. The forest gasped, the birds fled, the roots cried. Monkey's foot slipped from his hand. Something has begun, he whispered. Something terrible. He ran to the council of animals. He cried out, brothers, sisters, the men are cutting down our elders. The forest is bleeding. The danger is here. But the elephant laughed. Do you think a few sticks swung by men can topple my might? I will trample them if they dare approach. The lion yawned. Let them cut. When I roar, their hearts will scatter like ants. The eagle spread her wings. My eyes will see every move they make. No man can hide from me. Monkey's voice trembled. But do you not see? Strength cannot stop greed. Roars cannot silence hunger. Eyes cannot watch what they do not understand. We must act before the forest is lost. The council fell silent. Then they laughed at Monkey. Sit in your tree, little jester, the lion growled. Leave serious matters to serious creatures. Their laughter echoed. But Monkey's heart was heavy. Because in the shadows of the trees, the axes were still rising. And the forest was still dying. Monkey returned to his tree. He looked at the stars that night. And he swore, if they will not listen, then I must act. For if the forest falls, we all fall. The drums of the forest were beating. The test of Monkey had begun. The next morning, the sun rose red. Not the red of dawn. Not the red of promise. But the red of warning. Monkey woke to silence. A silence that was not natural. No bird sang. No branches swayed. The forest was holding its breath. Then it came again. Chop. 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 Monkey's heart sank. The men had returned. And this time, they had not come alone. He crept to the edge of the trees. He counted. 1 man. 2. 5. 10. 10 men. Each with an axe. Each with eyes cold as stone. Each with a hunger that could not be filled. They moved through the forest like a sickness. And with every strike, another elder tree shook. Another bird lost its nest. Another shadow vanished. Monkey's fear bristled. He wanted to scream. He wanted to leap onto their shoulders and claw the axes from their hands. But he knew he was only one. 1 against 10. 1 against greed. And greed was an army of its own. He raced again to the council. He shouted until his throat burned. The men have returned. There are many this time. They will not stop until Ankoba is nothing but dust. The elephant stamped his foot. Then let them come. Do you not see my size? I will crush them all beneath me. The lion's eyes narrowed. I have teeth that tear flesh. Who among them can stand against me? The eagle circled above, unimpressed. My wings stretch farther than their steps. I will see them before they strike. Monkey shook his head. No. You are blind to what is happening. 1 tree today. 10 tomorrow. And soon, the forest will be no more. Do you think you can trample smoke? Do you think you can roar against emptiness? Do you think your eyes can find a river once it is dry? But they did not listen. They never listened. And so Monkey left them. His heart beat fast. His mind raced faster. If the great ones will not act, then I must find another way. He leapt from tree to tree, searching for a plan. For a weapon not of strength, but of cunning. Because Monkey knew, when claws cannot win, the mind must. That night, as the men slept at the edge of the forest, Monkey crept close. He studied them. He watched the way they sharpened their axes. He listened to the way they spoke of gold, of timber, of riches. Their words were sharp as their blades. And sharper still was their hunger. But Monkey noticed something else. The weakness. When they cut the trees, they stacked the logs in piles. Heavy piles. Unbalanced piles. And Monkey's eyes lit up. Yes, he whispered. Even the strongest wall crumbles when the ground beneath it shifts. But before he could act, he heard a sound behind him. Rustling. Shuffling. Breath. He froze. Turned. And there, in the shadows, 2 eyes glowed. Yellow. Piercing. It was Lion. The king stepped forward, his mane catching the firelight from the men's camp. His growl rumbled like thunder. You should not be here, little fool. Do you think your tricks will save us? Leave this to me. Tomorrow, I will tear their camp apart. Monkey's voice was steady. No, Lion. Your teeth will not frighten greed. Your roar will not stop their axes. You will only make them hunt us harder. Lion's growl deepened. You speak boldly for one so small. But remember this. I am king. And if I say I will fight, then I will fight. He turned, his shadow long and heavy against the flames. And Monkey whispered to himself, kings who will not listen are kings who lead their people to ruin. The night deepened. The men slept. And Monkey planned. But in the darkness, the forest trembled. Because tomorrow, blood would fall upon the roots of Ankoba. And not even Monkey knew how heavy that blood would be. The morning came heavy. The sky was grey. The wind restless. Even the birds refused to sing. Monkey sat high in his tree, his tail curled around the branch, watching, waiting, and then he heard it again. Chop, chop, chop. But this time, it was louder, stronger, like drums of war. The men had returned, axes gleaming, voices rough, hearts empty. The forest shook with every strike. And this time, the animals could not ignore it. Elephant came first, his tusks gleaming, his steps like thunder. I will end this, he boomed. No man can stand before me. Lion followed, mane blazing like fire. Let them swing their axes. One roar from me, and their bones will tremble. Eagle circled above, eyes sharp as blades. They will not escape my sight. Monkey watched them all, his chest heavy. He wanted to shout. He wanted to plead. But pride had already sealed their ears. At the edge of the clearing, the men lifted their axes, laughing as another tree groaned. Its branches swayed. Its roots snapped. Its body crashed to the earth. The ground quaked. The animals charged. Elephant stormed first. He trumpeted, lifting his tusks, his feet pounding the soil. The men stumbled back, startled. For a moment, they looked afraid. But then, they laughed, and fire appeared. Torches, bright, burning, cruel. The elephant froze, his eyes wide. The men swung the fire high, and with every wave, elephant stepped back, because even strength fears flame. Lion roared. The sound split in the air. The forest echoed with his fury. Birds scattered. Leaves trembled. Even the men paused. But only for a moment. Because then they raised their spears. Long, sharp, ready. And Lion hesitated. For even kings bleed. Eagle swooped low, talons flashing, wings slicing the air. But the men raised nets, woven thick, waiting. Eagle beat her wings, clawed at the ropes. But the men only laughed louder. One by one, the mighty fell back. Elephant, lion, eagle, defeated not by strength, but by greed armed with tools. From the trees, Monkey's heart ached. He had warned them. He had told them. But pride had deafened them. Now, the forest trembled. Its protectors humbled. Its enemies stronger than ever. That night, the council gathered again. Elephant lowered his head. The fire was too strong. Lion's mane drooped. Their spears were many. Eagle's voice cracked. Their nets were cunning. And for the first time, silence filled the circle. No laughter. No mocking. Only shame. Then, slowly, all eyes turned to Monkey. The one they had mocked. The one they had doubted. The one they had called nothing. And Monkey said softly, "You see now, strength alone cannot win. Roars cannot silence greed. Ice cannot defeat fire. But I have another way." The council leaned closer. Even Lion lowered his head to hear. "What way?" Elephant rumbled. Monkey's eyes gleamed. "The way of the trickster. The way of wisdom. The way they will never expect." But as Monkey spoke, far beyond them, the men planned too. For tomorrow. The night was heavy. The stars hid behind clouds. The forest whispered in fear. Elephant, lion, eagle. They sat in silence, wounded in pride, shaken in spirit. And Monkey stood before them, the smallest, the weakest, the one they never trusted. Yet now, their eyes begged him to speak. Monkey's voice was low, but steady. "You have seen their fire. You have seen their nets. You have seen their greed. Strength will not defeat them. Roars will not scatter them. Eyes will not outwit them. But tricks can turn their own weapons against them." Elephant shifted uneasily. "You mean to fight them with games?" Monkey's tail curled. "No. I mean to fight them with wisdom. The wisdom of the small. The wisdom of the unnoticed." And so Monkey revealed his plan. "We will not meet their axes head-on. We will not face their fire in the open. Instead, we will make the forest fight for us." The animals leaned closer. "I have watched them," Monkey continued. "They cut and they stack the logs high. But they do not balance them well. If the stacks fall, they will crush their own camp." Eagle tilted her head. "And the fire?" Monkey's eyes glimmered. "Fire feeds on wood. But if the fire spreads too quickly, they will fear it. We will give fire to their fire." Lion growled softly. "And what of their machine?" Monkey's grin was sharp. "Machines are blind. They cannot think. They can only move where men guide them. We will guide them elsewhere." The council listened in silence. And for the first time, they did not laugh. For the first time, they believed. The next day dawned. And with it came destruction. The men returned. More than before. With axes. With fire. With the machine. It was a beast of iron. Its teeth spun in circles. Gnashing, grinding. Chewing through trees with no mercy. The forest cried out. Roots tore. Leaves screamed. Birds scattered. Monkey's heart beat fast. The time had come. He leapt through the branches. Silent as shadow. Swift as wind. He tugged at ropes. He shifted logs. He loosened stacks. One push here. One pull there. The balance changed. Above, Eagle swooped low. Her wings guiding sparks. From the men's own torches. The sparks leapt. Caught on dry wood. Spread like whispers. The men shouted. They dropped axes. Rushed to stomp the flames. But the fire was faster. It danced from pile to pile. Climbing high. Spreading wide. The logs they had cut. Their trophies, their wealth. Now burned against them. The machine roared. Its teeth spinning. It lunged toward another tree. But Monkey leapt. He grabbed the vine. Swung low. And with a sharp tug, he threw the machine off its path. It veered into the burning stacks. Its teeth met fire. Its roar turned to screams of metal. Soon, it fell silent. The men panicked. Their fire betrayed them. Their logs crushed them. Their machine failed them. They shouted. They cursed. And at last, they ran. Ran from the forest. Ran from the flames. Ran from the trickster they never saw. From the shadows. Monkey watched. His chest heaved. His fur was singed. But his eyes glowed with triumph. The forest sighed in relief. The trees still stood. The roots still held. The animals still lived. But Monkey knew. This was not the end. Because men always return. And next time, their hunger might be greater. The forest had been safe today. But tomorrow, that was another battle. For a brief moment, the forest breathed easy. The flames had died. The men had fled. The animals lifted their heads again. But Monkey did not smile. Because he knew. Greed does not leave so quickly. Greed always returns. Days passed. The forest healed slowly. The trees whispered again. The rivers sang once more. But then, the ground shook. Not with thunder. Not with elephants. But with wheels. With engines. The men had returned. Not with axes alone. Not with fire alone. This time, they brought machines. Machines that roared louder than lions. Machines that crushed the ground heavier than elephants. Machines that did not fear nets, or sparks, or tricks. The animals gathered in fear. What do we do now? Eagle cried. Their beasts are too many. Lion snarled, but his eyes betrayed doubt. Even my roar cannot silence iron. Elephant trembled. Their machines do not move like men. They do not tire. They do not stop. And all eyes turned once more to Monkey. Monkey's heart was heavy. He had saved them once. But could he save them again? He closed his eyes. He listened. To the wind. To the leaves. To the old wisdom of the forest. And then, he remembered the words of his grandmother. The river does not fight the rock by force. It bends. It flows. It finds another way. Monkey opened his eyes. Yes. Another way. That night, he moved through the forest like shadow. He studied the machines. He watched the men. He listened to their boasting. They spoke of riches. Of cutting every tree. Of selling every root. Of draining every river. Monkey clenched his fist. The forest shivered with his anger. But anger was not enough. He needed a plan. A plan greater than before. At dawn, as the machines roared forward, Monkey climbed to the highest branch. He cried out across the forest. Brothers, sisters, today we do not fight with teeth. We do not fight with claws. We do not fight with roars. Today, we fight with the forest itself. The animals stirred. Confusion filled their eyes. The forest. Elephant asked. How can the trees fight? Monkey grinned. Watch. And follow. The machines pressed forward. Their blades spinning. Their wheels crashing. The men laughed. Certain of victory. But then, Monkey gave his signal. The birds rose first. Flocks darkened the sky. Wings beating in unison. They swooped. Not at the men, but at their fuel. They pecked. They tore. They spilled it onto the soil. The machine slowed. Coughed. Choked. Then came the insects. Millions swarmed from the underbrush. They crawled into gears. Into engines. Into wires. They chewed. They clogged. They tangled. The machines shrieked. Metal grinding against metal. Then Elephant moved. Not to trample the machines, but to the rivers. He stomped the banks, diverting water. A flood rushed forward, soaking the soil, turning the ground to mud. The machine sank. Wheels spun helpless. Engines roared and sputtered. And finally, Monkey leapt. He swung low, snatched the men's maps, their plans, their charts. He tore them into pieces and cast them to the wind. Chaos erupted. Men shouted. Machines failed. The forest itself rose against them. Monkey's eyes blazed. This is not your land. These are not your trees. Go, before the forest swallows you whole. The men stumbled. They cursed. And at last, they fled again. But this time, they left their machines behind. Broken, defeated, claimed by the roots and the mud. The animals cheered. The forest echoed with joy. But Monkey stood apart. Because he knew. Men forget. Men always forget. And one day, they would come again. Still, for now, Ankoba was safe. And the forgotten hero had risen once more. The forest was quiet again. The smoke had lifted. The machines lay silent, half sunk in mud, claimed by the roots. The animals gathered beneath the great baobab, their eyes shining with relief. Elephant bowed his head. Monkey, you were right. Strength could not save us. But your wisdom did. Lion lowered himself. Your courage shamed my roar. I called you a fool. But today you led as a king should. Eagle spread her wings. My eyes see far. But yours saw deeper. Without you, the sky itself would have been empty. Monkey's chest rose and fell. He was tired. His fur was singed. His arms ached. But his spirit glowed. He looked at them all and said, Do not praise me. Praise the forest. For I am nothing without it. I used its rivers, its insects, its birds, its roots. The forest saved itself. Through me, the animals listened. And they understood. That day, the council of Ankoba changed. No longer would they laugh at the small. No longer would they mock the weak. For wisdom does not always roar. Sometimes, it whispers. And the one they had called nothing had saved everything. As the sun dipped low, Monkey climbed to his branch once more. He looked over the forest, its leaves glimmering in the dying light. He whispered softly, As long as one tree stands, hope still breathes. But the day we forget to listen, the day we forget to guard, is the day Ankoba will fall. And with that, Monkey closed his eyes, his tail curling around the branch. The forest sighed in peace. For now, the elders say, the small pot cools the soup, the tiny ant breaks the bread, and the voice you ignore today may save your life tomorrow. Never despise the small. Never mock the weak. For sometimes, the one you laugh at is the one who carries the key to survival. This was the story of how the monkey saved the forest. A story of wisdom, pride, and the power of the overlooked. If this tale stirred you, if it reminded you of the power of even the smallest voice, then carry its lesson with you. And if you want more stories like this, stories of wisdom, of warning, of truth, make sure you like this video, share it with others, and subscribe to this channel. Because the forest of wisdom is wide. And here, we will keep its stories alive.